Hello everyone, Carol Dewey here. Thanks for joining me in this mini presentation. We've had a rough week this week in the markets, and I have fielded a lot of calls, questions, and naturally concerns. I thought it might be a good time for a review and teaching moment. I recently had a friend tell me I should offer webinars just like this to explain complicated financial matters, and I decided to give it a try, so thank you, Ray, for the idea and encouragement. Here what you see is I have a table of the actual S&P 500 returns over the last 26 years. And in an ideal world, if we could eliminate the negative years completely, so that means taking away 1994, jumping down here to take away the dot-com bust and what we call the hangover years, get down here to 2008, where when the financial world nearly collapsed, and we're going to take away 2015 and 2018. So those are 7 out of the last 26 years that showed negative returns. What I'm going to do is go over here and click this button here to make those negative returns simply 0. We're just going to make them 0 at this time. But to be fair, if we're going to replace the negative years with a 0, we kind of have to put a cap on the upside. Okay, so right now a competitive cap might be 12.5%. So in the years when the S&P did more than that, such as in 1995 here, when it returned 34%, we're going to limit our gains to 12.5%. But remember, we're not going to have any negative years. If we use an example of investing $1 over that time period, in both of the scenarios, the actual returns and our limited model, that dollar would grow to $6.93 under the actual scenario over the last 26 years, versus $6.56 in our limited model example. So true market performance is $6.93 versus the $6.56 in our limited model. Under the same S&P 500 performance, the question is, how did you participate with it? Here in our firm, we believe that there is more opportunity to help clients avoid the losses than there is in simply trying to pick the winners. That is on a macroeconomic scale. We help people find the money they are losing unknowingly and unnecessarily, but more on a smaller scale. And indexing does that as well. An indexing strategy eliminates the losses. An example of there is more opportunity in eliminating the losses. And we've done that in this limited model example. Then there is in trying to pick the winners. Okay, so sometimes that is going to deliver higher rates of return, and other times the market will outperform it depending on what years you chose up here. And you can see I've chose 1994 to the end of last year, so just a few months ago. And our actual market statistics performed a little bit better than our limited model. But if I switch that to just a few years ago in 2016, you can see our limited model is actually a little bit ahead of the actual returns. What we really don't know is what's going to happen in the future. Now I want to show you how to balance the volatility of the market with a safe tank option. To begin, I'd like to introduce you to a simple picture. This is called your personal economic model, and it will provide a visual platform for us to discuss some of these concepts with you. This model is basically a visual representation of the flow of money for those of you who have not seen me use it before. And I want to talk to you about what we call position A. So what is position A? What this big tank on the left represents is your lifetime capital potential. The money coming in And you are going to have a lot of money coming in. That's why this tank is so big on the left, because it represents all of the money that will pass through your existence in your lifetime. And you'll notice you don't have a lot of money sitting in this particular tank, okay? Because the money comes in as monthly cash flow. Most people do run their budgets on a monthly cash flow position. Then the money comes down here and flows through to this copper filter, and that's the tax filter. The federal government gets involved at this point. They control that. They actually put that into your financial position, and they suck some of your hard-earned dollars out. And then the natural flow of your money is to come through the tube here, through your current lifestyle, and then out and gone forever. That's pretty much the natural flow. But what we all see is naturally position A is going to be for our retirement. Now, if you're like most people, you may have a portion of your funds skipping that tax filter for now and dropping straight into a company-sponsored or qualified retirement plan. However, we don't necessarily like this roller coaster ride over here in these buckets, in this particular tank, I should say. If we can complement that with some money in this green tank to balance the scales a bit, which, by the way, can only go up in value, that would give you options in times of crisis. If you have a green tank, it allows you to weather the down markets more successfully. These two tanks, they kind of work together. When the market is down, that's the worst time to sell, right? Everyone has been taught that you buy low and you sell high. So this might be a good time to sell, and this would be a terrible time to sell or a good time to buy. So if your retirement plan looks like this, with all of your funds in this yellow tank, and you get up to here, and you need some money, that's fine. You spend the money. But after events like this week, and the market is down like this, that's the worst time to take money out of that tank, because when you've taken it out, you've stifled its ability to recover. Instead, if we had a picture that looked more like this, when the markets are up, maybe you take your income from the yellow tank. So what you're doing is you turn on this distribution valve down here on the left-hand side. But when the market is down, that's when you'd want to take money from the green tank and allow this tank to have a recovery period. I wanted to use this diagram to illustrate this concept. So if your own personal economic model doesn't currently provide you this level of flexibility, safety, and control, then maybe we should have a conversation about that. What else? Might our current situation lend itself to an opportunity? By having access to capital over here in this green tanks, and the markets are down, and if it's a good time to buy, so if the timing was right, might you want to take some money from this green tank and shift it into the yellow tank to capitalize on the recovery period, and when back up, transfer those funds back over to the safe tank? Now, of course, that is a whole other lesson we will table for a later time. And I want to mention that we are still assessing the markets right now. So this is by no means a recommendation to buy into the markets at this time. We can, have that discussion on a case-by-case scenario. Our process of working with clients remains the same, but each client recommendation and plan is really based on their own unique and individual situation. If you want a complimentary analysis of your unique set of circumstances, reach out to me and we can have a conversation. Thanks for taking the time to watch my mini presentation today. Until next time, take care and try not to worry yourself into a panic. That's when you'll make irrational decisions that could have a long-lasting effect on your own personal economic model.